No couple on their wedding day would imagine that someday they may stop having sex. Although celibacy is a choice, I believe that one cannot have a happy long-term relationship without good sex. For the ones of you who don't know me, my name is Valdo Lallemand. I'm a relationship coach, and my mission is to liberate love through connection and playfulness. I am first going to talk about the definition of a sexless couple. I'm going to talk about the reasons why some couples are sexless. I'm going to talk about why it is important as a couple to maintain a sex life. And I'm going to look for solutions to improve or reignite your sex life. The clinical definition of a sexless couple is a couple that has not had sex in over a year. More practically, most couple therapists and counselors consider sexless a couple that has sex less than 10 times a year. Due to the ebbs and flows of life, all couples have sexless periods. However, when sex dies or when sex becomes more and more infrequent, I believe it is really important to understand what is going on before trying to fix it. Typically, after a hot and steamy honeymoon phase, most couples fall into routine. Routine by itself kills sex life, as routine is the enemy of passion. When passion diminishes, two really important factors surface: fear of attractiveness and fear of rejection. These two fears make sex less frequent and more cumbersome, and as a result, it becomes harder and harder to meet our deep needs for sex and intimacy. And when our needs are not met, resentment happens. Over time, the resentment builds up, and it makes it harder and harder to put it off to the side for a little bit and enjoy each other, enjoy having sex together. Resentment buildup in a couple is normal. Good couples typically find ways to empty their resentment bank accounts, and by the way, sex is a really good way of doing that. Other couples basically harden their build-up resentment and keep piling and piling and piling. One of the factors that keeps hardening that built-up resentment is transactionality. I do not know any couples who actually pays each other for sex. However, I know many that engage in some transactionality. For example, every time you do something in hopes you have sex, only times you tell your partner yes when you are not in the mood because they did something yesterday or that morning, that is transactionality. And last but not least are thirds. So some thirds are wonderful and welcome like children, but children impede seriously on a couple's sex life. Some thirds are less welcome, like addiction, like porn use, or affairs. I would love to dive into the art of lovemaking next, but there is an important consideration I want to bring to your attention. Our sexual satisfaction and happiness is highly correlated to our self-esteem. In no way am I saying that you get what you deserve. What I want to say here is that in sexlessness, you get what you tolerate. But why is sex important in a couple? Actually, it is sex and intimacy that is critical for the happiness of a couple. As a couple, you bring each other up or you bring each other down. One of the fallacies that I believe dooms many couples is the belief that it is okay to be good roommates with some benefits. The benefits are critical. Without benefits, basically without a good sex life, couples tend to fall apart, and you can imagine all the loneliness, bitterness, and resentment that comes from that. Couples who bring each other up know how to play, know how to become more and more alive, know how to find nurturing with each other. And this is why sex and intimacy are critical to a happy couple. Should you decide that your couple is worth it, what are solutions out of sexlessness or out of a roommate with some benefit situation? First is awareness. Basically, becoming comfortable with the fact that your couple has become sexless. Second is to do something about it. Very often, there are deep wounds, deep resentment that need to be addressed individually. Basically, finding a good coach or a good therapist that will explore with you what is going on and how you can rewire your brain so that you learn to be more comfortable, open, alive, and playful about sex. In addition to solo work, I believe that couples work is really important. I am yet to see a couple that is sexless that does not have deep issues with each other. Whether sex is happening but is not satisfactory, or sex is electrical, or there is no sex, I believe it is really important to look at sex together as a couple and preferably with a professional. Hold on. I believe that we have to make space for a commercial break. You're Dr. Valdo, is that correct? What do you do? Dr. Valdo is here to resuscitate your sex life. Thanks, Dr. Valdo, for this commercial break. And I believe this is the perfect segue into the third approach, which I believe that most couples are missing. Many do solo work, many do couples work, but I believe it is really important to do couples play because we need to learn and relearn to play together, invite each other, know how to arouse each other in that wonderful territory of learning to make love with each other. I mentioned earlier that we either bring each other up or we bring each other down as a couple. And I also mentioned that in sex, especially sexlessness, we get what we tolerate. And so step 3, in addition and in parallel to doing solo work and couples work and hopefully couples play, I believe it is really important to understand how we co-create our couple's reality, whether we are aware of it. So being aware of it, we can learn to co-create the future we want. I believe it is really important to make a commitment as a couple to a future in which we can nurture each other, especially sexually, and we can learn about each other's needs and how to meet them as a couple. Reigniting your sex life can be very playful and hopefully will bring you a lot of aliveness. I believe that courage to acknowledge that things are not the way you want, courage to go and explore and do the therapy both by yourself and as a couple, courage to do things that somehow you should know. For example, I made a video recently with my friend Elizabeth Annika for Men on how to learn to touch a woman, which I believe that much fewer men than are comfortable acknowledging do not know how to touch their woman. And I believe that vulnerability is really important because learning to be intimate with each other requires a lot of it. If this video inspired you to create a better sex life with your partner or to find a partner with whom you will have a better sex life, please hit the like button below and subscribe so you can be notified when I publish new juicy content. And please share with all you believe would benefit. I look forward to seeing you very soon.